There you go.
So, quick introduction. I'm Sharon. Stephanie refers to me as the Chief Fund Officer for P2P Community. I'm the craziness behind all the hype weeks, all the Bitmojis, the trivia, Sunday Fun Day, all of that stuff. I work with Stephanie and also Allison, who's not joining us tonight because she's at the happiest place on earth. You know what? I do hear some feedback, so perhaps if everybody can just mute themselves, that would be great.
Yeah, I just muted. We should be good. If anyone has a question, there'll be questions at the end, so we'll unmute then. But while Sharon's going, we'll probably put everyone on mute just to eliminate any background noise.
Yeah.
You can also type in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat, so.
Perfect. And then I do work with Stephanie, just creating templates, putting planner stuff together, prototyping, testing everything before we cut it loose. And God help me, I put almost 1,300 stickers in every single sticker book that you all have fun with. So that is what I do. And apparently now I'm facilitating a walkthrough of our newest product. So without further ado, I am just going to tee this up by saying that we always pay attention to the community, and it was very, very apparent that another version of the Finance Sidekick needed to be created, which makes me very happy because I don't do monthly budgeting. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully this will all work. And bear with me for just a second while that loads.
And if everyone could give like a thumbs up or something, if you can see the screen, that'd be helpful.
Let me just, Stephanie, I can't see the screen anymore, so just verbally let me know if you can see my screen share.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. So just so everybody knows what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to the left side of the screen that has some washi on it. That is my demo. It's also labeled as such. And then the right side of the screen is the new Paycheck Sidekick as you'll receive it when you download it. Also, I just want to say that I will not be sharing any of my personal numbers, but the walkthrough will still get you where you need to go. So the first thing that I'm going to say is that the top portion of the dashboard, in fact, this entire page is identical to the original monthly Finance Sidekick. The only difference is in the center of the page over the months, the Paycheck Sidekick says budgets. The original version had said monthly budgets. Other than that, everything is the same. I should also point out that the middle row of icons on the left side, I have changed debt tracker to savings drawers because I didn't want that page to be blank and we're debt free. So I put some cute little trackers there. So without further ado, I'm going to walk through first the dashboard part. So I don't know how many people already have the budget, the monthly budget, but you'll see it's really all the same. So again, this screen over here is how you'll get it. And this screen over here that says demo is mine. So the top row, the only thing that I personally have changed, again, there's no debt. Our youngest just left the nest and we're helping him for a little while. So I've got a column for my son. Other than that, this is what you'll get. So you can tally everything by the month. And there's some lines at the bottom where you can add whatever you want to add. Swiping over, there's one sheet for your financial goals. You can duplicate it as often as you want to. I've duplicated mine twice. I've got one page for savings accounts that we have. Most of them were all long-term for whenever. But if you did have something particular that had a timeline on it, you would just put when you start saving, when you need to have that money by, what that goal is. You would divide it by how many paychecks or weeks or months you have to save, and that's how that would go. I will also tell you that in the options of paycheck, week, and month, I did add the word period, so mine does say paycheck period. This font is Cambria, if anybody wants to make any kind of tweaks to their planner for themselves. Scrolling over, there is a subscription tracker. This, if you had our original budget add-on, was the expense tracker. And if you're a TBM person, you probably will recognize what I'm about to show you as a fixed expenses page. So what I have chosen to do is, instead of just tracking things like Amazon Prime or our Costco membership, is I use the top part for our monthly bills and the due date. And I indicate that it's monthly, and all of our stuff is paid automatically by either our Bank of America checking account or by our Amex. And then down here, these are from AAA down to RCI maintenance. Those are all of our expenses, or our fixed expenses, that recur annually but not monthly. And then, of course, our car registrations. Going to the next page is the debt tracker. So again, there's only one of these sheets. Duplicate it as much as you need. Hopefully it won't be too many that you need. The information that you would put on is sort of self-explanatory. For some oohs and ahs, if you're a TBM person, you'll recognize these little trackers that I have popped on to mine just because they are kind of cute. There is a savings tracker. You get one, and you would put your account where it says account, and your date, if you're taking money in, out. If you want to get more specific and say that you withdrew to buy new shoes, you can do that. I've got one for each of our savings accounts. So again, just duplicate that as often as you need. The next page you'll get to is sinking funds. There is room for 20 sinking funds here. You can get to the individual pages either by tapping on the one or on the actual bar that you would label. These are mine. I currently only have 12 sinking funds. When my niece gets married, it'll drop to 11 unless there's something else that we decide to start saving for. You do actually get a page for each of the sinking funds. I'm not going to swipe through all 20 pages. Instead, I'm just going to tap the link to get back to the original savings sinking funds page. And then the net worth tracker, there's one page for this. You can put the date, your assets, your liabilities, and what the values is. Again, the way that I've done it, these are just demos. This is not reflective of my financial situation, but my husband and I, for us, his is mine, mine is his, so I only have one net worth tracker. This would be our quarterly too. You may recognize the little visual at the bottom, and I would just duplicate this a total of 4 times throughout the year. But again, if you wanted specifically to track just one account, duplicate this for each of the accounts that you have. For retirement, there is one tracker in here. It was originally designed where you would put your account in there and then, of course, add your flow if you're adding or subtracting to it, and your balance. My husband and I come from finance backgrounds. Our world runs in quarters. We do not actively contribute to our retirement accounts. Everything is automated, so I don't need to do pluses and minuses in terms of that. Clearly, I'm not taking any withdrawals yet. I'm a little too young for that. I don't check it frequently because it would make me crazy. So we just check everything quarterly. Again, this is just demo information. So I just would have, and there's room for another quarter. So next year, this would include all 4 quarters. So I've got a sheet for me, and I've got a sheet for my husband's information. There is a notes page, and then something that we put in here separate from the original monthly is we added a blank note page. And I thought that that was super important, just because sometimes you want to put a cute little visual or a tracker in, and we didn't want for you to first have to cover up the lines. What I have chosen to use my note section for, many of you will recognize this, is I put in 3 pages for my budget categories. The color represents what color I highlight everything in, and then I just sort of gave myself like what would fall into each of those categories. So that is the walkthrough of the dashboard and how I personally am using it. Hopefully I gave you all some ideas that may work for you. Going into the actual good stuff that I know is what you're really here for. If you tap April or any month, it takes you to a landing page. This is a landing page that does not exist in the monthly finance sidekick, because it really doesn't matter when your bills hit in relation to your paychecks, because you budget by month. But clearly for paycheck budgeters, we felt that it was imperative to have a calendar so that you can see where your bills and your expenses fall within the month of when you're getting paid. And if you look at the top, we still give you the links to the months. What's different here is there's also links to 5 sets of paycheck pages. So if you are someone that only needs 2 budgets, you can cover up the rest. You can see for April, I only needed 3. I covered the other 2. If you budget weekly, we've got you covered. There's a key that you can use. There's different ways to do this. I personally just put what the expense was. I don't care for a lot of deco and stuff in my budget. I like to focus on what I'm here for. So anything that's extra, I put down at the bottom, but you can certainly put, if there's a holiday, if there's a birthday, if you know you're going to have another expense, you can put that there. For people who want to use a key, you can put dots, a green dot to indicate it's a payday, or a blue dot for if there's a bill. Some of you might want to tally up all your bills that hit on a certain day, like I've got Comcast and Apple hit the certain day. Perhaps somebody else, instead of writing Comcast and Apple, would want to write what the total is. Yes, the calendar is undated. However, it is super, super easy to get your numbers on the next page. Just deselect your images or your highlighter tool, leave your text on, circle, lasso everything, and you can see, boom, like May, it's set up. It's super easy to do. So hopefully everybody's with me because I can't see all of you. So if you tap on Paycheck 1, it's going to take you to the primary Paycheck 1 page of this sidekick. You can see that there's a place for your inflow. So we all know inflow is not just our paycheck. So like for us, we include what we're rolling over in our starting balance, my husband's paycheck. Other for us is things like our adult kids who are riding our coattails on our cell phone plan. They pay us money for their cell phones, or if I take a distribution from my business, that's others. And then transfers would be if I move any money from sinking funds or savings, or if you get, like, let's say a FSA refund or something for your medical. I'm going to go over the outflow and the transaction log buttons in a minute, but the next section, excuse me, is your outflow summary. So this is where you would put your estimate, your actual, and your over under for things like your fixed expenses, your variable expenses. Again, our last one is leaving the nest. And for us, annual renewals, for us, we don't count as our fixed expenses because they don't hit every month. So if I had Costco renewing, that's where I would put that. At the bottom, we do have a section for other. I'm choosing to put our savings information there. Somebody else might choose to put their debt information there. Perhaps around Christmas time, you might want to break down your Christmas spending, and your categories could be things like gifts, decorations, work grab bags, things like that. So that is that page. If you tap on the outflow button, this is where it is going to take you to the place that you can drill down into your expenses. So you can see for us, we've got the due dates. There's a place for a check mark. Some people, you can check mark when you pay your bill, when your bill clears, however the method to your madness is. And then for us, these are the expenses that hit in this budget period. And again, we always like for you to know where you're at. So there's a black circle around the 1 telling me I'm on April outflow, paycheck 1, and it says page 1 of 2 in the upper right-hand corner. For variable, excuse me, for variable expenses, we've got 7 categories from groceries through miscellaneous. On this particular paycheck, I knew we were doing some clothing shopping and there was a holiday, so I added that. And so that is what is on that page. Scrolling over 1, this is where you would list your sinking funds. We did give you a place for 20 sinking funds. We gave you a place that if you contribute to all 20 of your sinking funds, have at it. There's a line item for each of them. I put a little note for myself that for this particular paycheck, we did not transfer anything into sinking funds or savings. And it's just a note for myself to know to double up on everything next time. There's a place for savings. Again, mine's blank because I didn't put anything in that time. And then when you have your debt payments, your monthly payment that you need to make would be a fixed expense. But if you pay anything extra towards debt, we wanted to give you a place to put that. For me, I changed additional debt payments to be miscellaneous, and I changed creditor to item. And I did save that as an element. In fact, everything that I've showed you so far, all of my inflow sources, all of my variable expenses, those are all saved as elements to save me time going through this each time I do a pay period. This next page is the transaction log. There is one transaction log that you can duplicate as often as you want. If you're a TBM, paycheck true and true person, you know that this transaction log should be for your money movement. So for us, again, it's just our checking account and our Amex. So I've got 2 pages. If you are someone that wants to put what one of your variable expenses are, like your groceries, you can put your groceries, you can put your starting balance. Every time you go grocery shopping, just deduct it and you'll know how much money you have left. Or again, if you follow that other method, you can see I've got one for checking and I've got one for Amex. Because the sidekicks are as narrow as they are, what is that? there's no category, so it's color coded. I just know our inflow is green, like this blue is medical, bills are blue, etc. So that is how I color coded that. And again, if I need a reference, that's in the notes section. And then the last page, or the next to last page, you will recognize this is a way to tell where your money went. We call it the paycheck recap. And you would put your starting balance, your earned income, your other income, your savings used in your inflow. You would list all your categories here. And for the percent of total inflow, we did provide that formula for you, so don't worry about that. On the next page is the savings that you've probably seen in other places, and the debt. And again, for savings and for debt, we did provide you with the formulas to figure out the percentages. I chose to put a no spend tracker down at the bottom because it's cute. And to get back to the first page, because I do want to just point something out. This outflow, that takes you again to the page that has your fixed expenses and your variable expenses. Your transaction log will take you to where you can either track your money movement or specific variable expenses. And then down at the bottom, you kind of can't see it, it's being blocked, but it says paycheck recap. That's the link that takes you to that, that recap page. And again, if you were to tap on 2, it takes you to the second paycheck. All that information is there, et cetera, et cetera. All of the links work just like what you saw in the monthly one. The top banner will take you over to your main dashboard. Each of these takes you to that specific page. Your months will take you to your months. These links over here will take you all the way through the calendar year. And then the 1, 2, 3, and again, 4 and 5 will take you to your specific budget by paychecks. So I think I got to everything that I wanted to cover. So Steph, if you want to take it from here, if there's anything I missed.
No, I think you did a great job. So yeah, that's basically the rundown of, you know, how everything's set up. Again, you can download this now too and kind of flip through it from the Dropbox. And then you've got some inspiration from Sharon as well. We got a question about if we're going to put Sharon's inspiration in our Facebook album. I think we can definitely do that, just so you have some examples.
No problem.
Yeah, that'd be great. And yeah, we've got plenty of time for questions. So I'm trying to figure out what may be the best way to answer questions. I don't know if we should have people type out their questions in the chat, or maybe you can request to unmute, and then I can, like, if you raise your hand, I can unmute you. Sharon, do you know?
Yeah, I would just say either unmute or just raise your hand. Instead of seeing my gorgeous face, I'm going to leave this up. This way, if somebody has a question, I can just navigate over to it and respond versus having to reshare the screen.
Cool. So we've got plenty of time for questions. And if you guys hear my kiddos, they're doing their thing. So oh.
I did such a thorough job. There's no questions.
I know. Good job.
Will the mini, I have a quick one. Will the mini months fit in for the dates? They won't fit. Look, but the monthly, the date, for the, you know, the dates in the month.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, they weren't made to size for that particular box, but one thing you could do is you could put a white square over that month if you wanted to, and then pull in a mini month. That
Right.
would be
Right.
another option.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I actually try to use the mini months that are in the free P2P library, as well as the ones that are in the calendar. And aside from the fact that they don't really scale, the one set of them is transparent, so
Right.
you have to cover everything up
Right.
the white page. But you can certainly do that. It's just if you laid it over the grid, it will not size that way.
Well, it should be easy enough to just size the numbers from the, from our sticker books and,
Right.
You
You could just size the date dots.
yeah, the date.
Yeah, I'm not a date dot kind of girl, so I just type these in Cambria, which is again the font that you see in the planner. And then I just lassoed them, put them over on the next month, and just bumped everything over a day. Easy peasy. But that's not for everyone, so.
Oh, Robin wants to come in. Hey, Robin. We can open it up to other questions too if you guys have any other questions. Doesn't have to be specifically about this. We can just hang out for a little bit. Why not?
Well, if it's, yeah, when we're done asking questions about this, though, I'm going to unshare. This way I can see everybody.
Yeah, and I'll probably stop recording here in a little bit. So I'm checking the chat. Sharon, you did a great job because a lot of people are saying they don't have any questions.
Cool.
That's good. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. And then we've got this meeting set up for a little while. So if we all just want to kind of like hang out and chat, we can do that. So I'm going to stop recording in theory. Let's see.